I found something my ex-husband accused me of destroying, and I returned it. My marriage, we were both in our 30s, this is important, had problems right away. One of the manifestations was him berating me for not going to an elite university. I went to a very good undergrad and an even better grad school, had not finished at that point. But he went to one of the best schools in the country, known for graduates with a chip on their shoulder. That was really all he had on me, and I would just laugh. Even his parents told him he was being a jerk and sounded like an idiot because I had an impressive education, something I had never felt the need to discuss before. So anyway, he became really competitive about his college and especially his friends from college. Very few he was still in touch with. This was before Facebook, and he had this photo box full of memorabilia. Cardboard, no lock or anything. I had a dozen or so myself. A normal thing would be to go through his and mine together and share memories and stories and bond. I didn't really care about what was in the box, and college stories are boring when you weren't there, but I would have listened. But the box became a symbol of everything wrong, with him constantly saying I'm not good enough for his college friends. At some point he forbid me to look in the box. Of course I didn't take this well. Telling me I wasn't good enough to see what's in the box was like kerosene. It got brought up in every fight. Like a death spiral of, you're jealous of my friends, / your friends suck, and I wouldn't like them anyway. I didn't say I was the hero in this story. Fast forward through years of abuse. We moved on to more spectacular fights, and the box fell pretty far down the list. Then for some reason one day he went up to the attic and couldn't find his box. He said I threw it away because I was jealous and petty. I didn't, but after a few years of this he managed to convince me maybe I did. That's how abuse works. And you threw away my box, went back into heavy rotation. I begged his forgiveness, and fell deeper into depression over the depths to which my life had sunk. Finally got a divorce. Cops, ROs, the whole nine. I healed, moved on. Years later I sold my house, it was mine before, and when I was packing up I found the damn box. I had such an emotional reaction my legs buckled. I sat on the floor and wept. My boyfriend was really sweet about it. He didn't know about the box. It's so ridiculous and I was so ashamed, but mostly I had put it all behind me by then. Until it all came rushing back. I called a mutual friend and asked him to come get the box so they could get it to him. People suggested I should throw it away out of spite, but I had something to prove. Before I turned it over, I put copies of 2 unpublished essays I wrote about what he did to me, along with a handwritten note. I knew you didn't have the balls to kill me. And I sold your D&D books. Who's he going to tell? I mean, he probably will. But then he has to admit what's in the essays, and he's the 52-year-old man bitching 10 years post-divorce that his ex-wife sold his D&D books. I broke up with my girlfriend over earpods today. It was awesome. My girlfriend and I had been dating for almost a year now. She's in university, living in the university residence. I work full-time and have my own place. Her residence has some very strict rules, such as no male guests aside from parents and a strict curfew. This will be important later. We're not in the US, by the way. Before the Easter holidays, a few friends and I planned a road trip. I invited her, but she declined. The day before my road trip, I decided to get some new earbuds for the trip. My girlfriend came with me to the shop. Once there, my girlfriend decided that she would like a pair of AirPods. I relented and bought her a pair and got myself some Bose earbuds since I prefer those and I do not have an iPhone. On our way back to the university, she mentioned that she liked my earbuds since they looked better than her AirPods. She took them, paired them to her phone, and started playing around with them. I didn't think much of it until she said she wanted them and wanted to trade her AirPods with my earbuds. I told her no because I didn't have an iPhone, so AirPods would be useless to me. Found out later that they work pretty well on Android, and that we can exchange hers when I get back since going back now would make her late for curfew. She kept insisting, saying that it would make her happy. I told her I needed them for my trip in the morning, which seemed to be the end of it. We got to her residence, and as I was parking, she threw her AirPods at me and said, "Thanks for the trade," then jumped out of the moving car, still wearing my earbuds. I was shocked, and it took me a second to realize that she had just ran away with my earbuds. I parked and then ran after her, but I wasn't fast enough. She had already entered the building. I stood at the entrance with 2 very burly guards giving me the stink eye while I shouted for her to come back. She just blew me a kiss and went upstairs. I shouted a bit more until the guards very politely asked me to leave. I was livid. She had just robbed me and there was nothing I could do. I stalked back to my car fuming and cursing. However, I started laughing when I got to my car because, there on the ground, near the passenger side door, was a lovely white box. It seems in her mad dash to run away, she had accidentally dropped the charging case. I picked it up, my day suddenly brighter, and drove back to the shop. I exchanged the AirPods and got new earbuds, then blocked her, and the next morning went for my road trip. I unblocked her when I got back yesterday, ready to deal with the shitstorm, and called her. At first, she was sweet and asked about my trip. Then she asked if she had left the charging case for her earbuds in my car. I told her that I had returned the AirPods and exchanged them for new earbuds, and that since my new earbuds didn't work with my old charging case, I had thrown it away because I didn't need it. That triggered her, and she started shouting at me, calling me an asshole and demanding that I get her a new pair of earbuds or we're done. I said, "Okay, I guess we're done," then hung up. I've been laughing ever since. I got revenge on my bully. In school, I was relentlessly bullied. Two girls in particular had it out for me. I was shy, loved to read, didn't do the popular stuff, so I was the perfect victim. They'd literally torture me by holding me down in the staircase when we were alone and sticking pinboard pins into my arms, legs, and feet. When I tried to tell teachers, they said I fell onto them as they were lying on the floor, or I did it myself. It didn't help that one of them was the daughter of one of the teachers at the school. Well, I finally got my revenge. I went to try out a new ice cream shop, and lo and behold, one of the girls was serving the ice cream. I have multiple allergies, including milk and gluten, of which the ice cream shop claimed to be cautious. So I ordered gluten and dairy-free ice cream and set my phone camera up to film the area where the ice cream was prepared because I saw that the girl had recognized me and was certain she'd try something. And she did. I caught her on camera putting a spoon full of milk in the bottom of the bowl and crumbling the gluten-consisting wafers over everything, then camouflaging it with the last scoop of ice cream. She put it down in front of me and said, "I hope you enjoy it." I sweetly smiled at her and asked if she could get the owner of the shop because I wanted to thank her for being so welcoming to guests with allergies. You can guess what happened next. I showed the owner the video and told her that I'd like to press charges because in my country it is considered a criminal offense called inflicting bodily harm to serve someone an allergen when you know the person is allergic. The bully will never work anywhere where she'll come in contact with food again, and she'll have this on her criminal record for years. My neighbor told me I couldn't put out my trash, so I put his on vacation hold. So I rent a house with my husband and two of our friends. It's a 5-bedroom house. Rent is outrageous in our area, $2,400 for a 1-bedroom apartment. So we found this house for $3,000, not a bad deal while we save up to buy a house. There are other houses in the neighborhood like this as well. Our next-door neighbors, their house is a 5-bedroom house, and they have 9 people living in their house, so it is chaos over there all the time. In our neighborhood, we can choose the trash company, so it just so happens that we have the same trash company as the next-door neighbors. Our trash company does like us to have the trash out by 7 a.m. We don't always get it out that earlier, though, and that's where this problem started. Most of the time, they don't pick up our trash until 11 a.m., so obviously, as long as the trash is out before trash pickup gets here, they can take our trash. The people next door have 3 trash cans, and they are overflowing every single week. They put their trash out the night before, but unfortunately our neighborhood has raccoons and foxes, so the trash is always getting into, and last time a raccoon got into their trash, it left a mess in our yard, and they wouldn't pick it up. I was pretty pissed about it, but I just let it go, cleaned up their trash. I did go and put it back in their trash can, and they just sat out front glaring at me while I did that. Here's where this incident started. A couple weeks ago, I didn't get our trash out until almost 9 a.m. All 4 of us was sick with COVID. I was on the mend and feeling a little bit better, but I slept in and forgot to put out the trash at 7 a.m. So I go to put the trash out, and my neighbor starts yelling at me saying, "You were supposed to have your trash out by 7 a.m. You can't put your trash out now." I said, "Well, they haven't come and pick up the trash because your trash cans are full, so it's not a big deal." He said, "No, that's the rules. Your trash has to be out by 7 a.m. If it's not, you can't get your trash picked up this week." I said I understand that they want the trash out by 7 a.m., but they haven't come and picked it up yet, so it doesn't matter. So I went ahead and I just walked inside. I went back to bed, and a couple hours later I get up to see that our trash can were put to the side of the house, and they were still full of trash. So that means that someone moved our trash can. Our other neighbor came up to me the next day and said that she saw him put our trash can back. She didn't know the situation, so she wasn't going to butt in and tell him to not do that. Our neighbors are also very proud about their last name. They literally have a flag in their front window with their last name, so I called the trash company and I said that I was Mrs. So-and-so and I needed to set up a vacation hold for our upcoming pickup. They said, no problem, we won't pick up your trash next week. They legit only asked for the address, no other information. The next week, I made sure that our trash was out at 6:45 a.m. Then I sat, and I watched for the trash truck, and I watched them come past the house. They drove past my neighbor's house, didn't pick up their trash, even though their trash was overflowing, picked up ours and the other few people who also have them and left. I know I'm an asshole for doing this. You don't need to tell me. I may have crossed the line. But he also crossed the line by touching our cans and moving them and setting foot on our property. Badmouth me and assume I don't speak the language? I'll kill you with kindness. I am a light-skinned Latina American, and I lived in Korea for a couple of years during university and grad school, as my major was Korean interpretation and translation. During my time in Korea, I was lucky enough to attend music shows from time to time. For the K-pop uninitiated, music shows are free to enter, provided you have at least one of three items. A copy of the album of the group you're coming to see. B, proof of purchase of the album digitally on one of the approved music vendors in Korea. Or C, the official light stick from the most recent concert. Priority entry was always given to official fan club members who had all three, then fan club members who had two of the three, and then fan club members who had one. After that came non-members in the same priority tier. The group I had come to see hadn't opened official fan club registration in almost a decade, so the group's management decided to do away with the fan club priority and did it on a first-come, first-served basis, but kept the whole three items go first. Then two, then one thing. I had all three, and I got there early, so I got a good spot in line. These queues often had us waiting outside for hours while the previous round of filming finished up. The thing about these music show venues is, they're very small. They have limited capacity and allow 2 to 3 groups fans in to watch them film at a time, so not all people who queue for a group get in. In this particular instance, there was trouble with foreign fans causing trouble by taking pictures, not listening to instructions, so venue staff literally went through and quizzed each foreigner in line on their Korean. If you couldn't understand, you were booted. I passed with flying colors and kept my spot in line. Here's where the revenge starts. Because of the aforementioned issues, a lot of Korean fans hated international fans with a passion. For this group in particular, so many people were pissed that they had to wait in line behind foreigners because they'd done away with the official fan club priority. Now here's me, sitting alone in a queue outside on a hot summer day. A group of Korean girls sat in front of me, and a lone Korean girl talking on her phone sat behind me. I was minding my own business playing games on my phone after passing my Korean quiz with the staff, when I heard the girl behind me talking shit. She was chatting with a friend, I suspect, because she was dropping a lot of curse words, and specifically mentioned these foreign roaches ruining things for us. I want to kill them. She mentioned me in particular and said that she bet I'd bribed the staff to keep my spot in line even though I couldn't understand Korean. Okay, so, it's harmless shit talk. I don't know this girl and I don't know her friend. In the long run, it doesn't affect me, right? But it really rubbed me the wrong way, especially because she was talking quite loudly. So I grabbed my wallet, politely and quietly asked the Korean girls in front of me to watch my bag and hold my place in line, and went to the convenience store. I bought a round of water for everyone. It was heavy. I had about a dozen bottles of water. I get back to my spot in line, thanked the girls in front of me for holding my spot, then gave them each a water. I gave a water to the group in front of them, too. Then I kept one for myself and turned around and handed one to the girl on the phone with a smile. Immediately she lit up and thanked me in English, smiling bright and taking her phone away from her ear. As I hand her water, I say in perfect Korean and still smiling, the next time you loudly shit-talk the foreigners, make sure they can't actually understand you. When I tell you it went silent in the immediate area, you could hear a pin drop. Her smile melted off her face faster than an ice cream cone on Florida pavement. She turned beet red and muttered to her friend on the phone that she had to go and sheepishly apologized. I accepted. She had water, and I felt better about myself. Bonus, the girls in front of me heard the whole thing and adopted me into their group for the day. Fun was had all around. Stupid woman best water department workers. My ex-husband and I bought our home from his parents. They had the house built in the 50s. For years, father-in-law wanted to install a shut-off valve in the utility room to, shut off the water to the whole house to do some repairs. Plumber told him it would cost a large amount of money because they could not find the shut-off from the city water main at the street, the Buffalo Box, aka water main shut-off valve. Since the Buffalo box was MIA, they would have to freeze the pipes to stop the water before installing the shutoff valve. It was an expensive process to freeze the pipes, so it never got done. When we bought the house, we decided to get the shutoff valve installed. We called the water department, and they sent 2 workers to shut off the water. When they arrived, I explained the problem. They went out to the front yard, walked around a bit, and told me there was nothing they could do for me. According to the 2 workers, it was my problem that they could not find the Buffalo box and that I should call a plumber to dig up my front yard, sidewalk, and city easement to find my Buffalo box. Well, I have a background in residential real estate construction, and I was familiar with how water mains and Buffalo boxes are installed, and I told them it was the city's issue, as they were responsible for the Buffalo box, not the homeowners. According to these guys, as a woman, I did not know what I was talking about, and they left. They were incredibly rude about it, but peons like these think they can get away with being rude to an ignorant woman like me. Fast forward to a year or so later, I get a call from the city manager asking why I hadn't paid my water bill for over a year. I told him that I wanted to pay my water bill, but I wanted them to first turn off my water. He was a bit taken aback that I wanted them to turn off the water. So, I explained what the city workers told me about locating the Buffalo box and their attitude about women not understanding those type of things. I also told him that if the city could not turn off my water, I would be happy to have free water forever, because I would never pay another bill. We had a nice long chat about the situation, and he said that he would resolve my concerns. The next day, these same 2 guys show up at my house with some digging equipment and spend the whole day digging up the easement and the sidewalk. Their attitudes were rather somber, because the city manager told me he was going to give them a talking to about how they mishandled the situation. I even got an apology. They found the Buffalo box under the city-owned sidewalk. They fixed the Buffalo box so it would be accessible and came the next day to fix the sidewalk. They asked if I wanted the water turned off, declined, and I told them I would have my plumber take care of it when we had him install the interior shutoff valve. And then I paid the water bill.